morning, Kickstarter. I'm going to do something interesting today. I'm going to do a day in the life of, so you can see what my working day is like, what I'm doing, and some of my processes that I try and implement so that I can get things done while working at home with a computer full of video games and interesting things on the internet. So at the moment it's about 10:15 a.m. I tend to try and get up by 10. My main idea is I want to get to work by 11. Okay, so now breakfast. This is the process. We're still trying to wake up. For me, I like to have something healthy and a cup of tea. I don't drink any coffee through this whole process. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Or energy drinks. I just drink a weird amount of tea. This is when I sit and I hang out on YouTube or read video game news or whatever. Okay, this is my special trick that I learnt from, who did I learn it from? A friend heard it from someone at the Cannes Film Festival, someone who worked at home. And what they would do is each morning before they got to work, they would make sure, like even when they worked from home, they would get in the car and they would drive around the block and then come back home and then get inside and start working. So it's kind of like tricking yourself into feeling like you've gone somewhere and done something. You're traveling to a workplace basically. And I don't have a car or anything. So what I do is I walk around the block. And it's really good. It means like it's a point where you can think while you're walking about what you're going to do. You get outside, which is important. And when you do get home, you feel like you're refreshed and ready. I live in an area in Brisbane. It's called Highgate Hill. And it's basically like all hills everywhere. Okay, now we are all ready to go. I've done all my morning ritual stuff. It's 11 o'clock. I just discovered from my housemate that it's Saturday and not Friday. I thought it was Friday. But as you can see, my lifestyle, it doesn't really matter what day it is. I tend to do, 7 days a week. Or try to at least. Okay, so the first step is I like to make lists, as you can see. I have a list for each week that I work through, and I just tick stuff off as I go. And my wonderful producer Sarah made me this schedule, so stay on track with what I'm doing. So what are we in? We're in August now, are we? At least I knew that. So this is the month of August, so as you can see there's a deadline in the middle there, the bright coloured bit, so that's for the animatic to be ready. So at the moment I'm in the process of getting my colour board and loose animatics ready. So this is what my actual workstation is like. I'm just using a basic Wacom Intuos floor, and I also wear one of these. So it's basically a glide-proof glove. And so when you're working on the tablet, you get a smooth move. So you can see I've got my rock sitting over there. So yeah, this is my actual desktop. So I use two monitors, which is really useful. So on the right there, that's my background list. So basically those, I check them off as I work through them. I've got like 80 something to do. So I've already worked out the backgrounds with my rough storyboard, where I basically just have a foreground, a midground, and a background to make multiplane backgrounds. I could effectively do all the animation for the characters, and these placeholder backgrounds will still work. Putting your second monitor to good use is very important. So for me, when I'm doing boring, not boring, but kind of more mindless work, like I'm doing at the moment, I like to put a show on or something, or anything to keep me half entertained. So I'm using The Wire, which is like the best show ever made. So I've already watched it a few times, so I can easily have it playing in the background and sort of listening to it and enjoying it. But you know, I can still focus on my work fully. It's now 1 o'clock, 1 p.m, and I have finished basically all the rough templates for all the backgrounds like that I've shown you previously. And so what I did for some of these is, in my actual backyard, I took some sort of macro photography of in the grass and stuff, and I used some of them as reference for some of the backgrounds I created, so you can see the reference shot here and what I ended up with. The best thing about beautiful days like today is every hour or something I can just go and stand in the sun for a little bit. My dream is to go off into the hills somewhere, or like a little coastal village or something, and work out of a cabin or something, out of a cottage. Oh, that'd be so nice. But this is, I guess, as good as I can get at the moment, and that's pretty good. So as you can see, this is pretty much a list of all the backgrounds. So what I do is I basically put them all next to each other like this, and then what you can see is the compositions, how they kind of flow together and work together. So we'll turn this into a color board. So I'll basically do a color wash over all these shots, and you'll be able to get a feel of the transition of color throughout the film. I just got started and I dived in and just assumed I knew what I was doing, which I didn't. So as you can see, I was just kind of like throwing colors in. I was sort of thinking about it, like, you know, color is so complex, it needs a lot of research. Part of the process is research. So these are just basically all off Google Images, like other people's color boards and how they've done them. There's obviously the Pixar ones and how they track them. This is a really fantastic one if you can ever find it. The Horton Here's a Who color script. This one's, I think every single person in my university year basically went to this exact script for mapping their color. So I think all of our films climaxed at pink and ended in yellow. Another really cool thing, a blog, this one's called Movie Barcode. It's moviebarcode.tumblr.com. And it's basically a guy who compresses films, each frame of a film, into just a strip of color and information. So you can just go through films and sort of visualize how they progress through color. It is now 3 p.m. I've had a few false starts with my color board, but this is kind of a rough, maybe in the direction I want to go. I'll reassess it. I often like to take a day or something and return to it and have a look at it with some degree of fresh eyes. It's funny, the board follows quite similar to, this is my color board for the wedding, as you can see next to it. And you'll probably notice some similarities in the color direction with them. Alrighty, so it's about 4 p.m. now. Yeah, so around at 4 p.m. I get sleepy every day. What I used to do is I would have a nap or something, but I started to, in the crunch time of my last film on the wedding, I started to go for runs instead, or do some exercise, go to the gym or something. And I found that if I have a nap, you know, I'll be in bed for an hour or whatever, and I'll get up and I'll feel pretty bad, and I'll trudge over to the computer, and it'll be a pretty miserable experience. But if I go out and have a run, I kind of get, for a start, I get some exercise, I get outside, I breathe some air, I get my blood pumping, and it actually wakes me up. So I either find I get tired, I just need a bit of physical exercise or activity to get me back up. So you could even just, I don't know, walk to the shops or do whatever, and try and get some daily exercise. And I find this lifestyle can either go one way, where you stay home all day and you work and you eat crap and you don't do anything really and you become a big blob and unhealthy, or you can turn it into something to motivate you to work more. And I remember in crunch period for our last films, like all the other students, I remember strolling in to hand in my film, and I was sort of feeling really great. I was energetic, sort of in the best shape I'd ever been in, and like I drank one coffee throughout my entire production, and I went in and handed in my assignment, my finished film, and all the other people were still in there working, and there was like coffee cups and energy drinks piled up. Everyone was just eating like junk, and everyone was tired and miserable and angry, and I was like, had a skip in my step. So it was a great experience. Because it turns out it's actually a Saturday, I don't think I'll keep working, but normally if I have a deadline or something, I will go out and have a run or exercise, and then I'll come back in, you know, relax a little bit, and then get back into it and work till 9 or 10, or if I've got good momentum, I'll just keep going until I need to go to bed. And this is kind of in the early stages of development, where I can have some luxury and relax a bit, but when you hit crunch time, it's I'll do a day in the life during my crunch time, and you can see how that's a pretty strange experience. So, hope you enjoyed a day in the life of my life as of it is currently.